So what if I could buy 100 acres of rainforest somewhere nearby here, where I even get more rain, where the soils are even better, because there's a lot of agriculture land here. There's a lot of papaya fields that aren't being used, that are just fallow, that are just sitting there, Hundreds and thousands of acres of farmland is just sitting there in Hawaii, because no one's farming it, because the owners are either too old or they don't live on the island. Who knows? Who knows what the reasons are?
It's work.
It's too much work. So we've got all this land, that's been abused and destroyed by people, because these ag lands weren't organic farms, they were genetically modified papayas, or they were commercial papaya fields, that have been really like abused. The land's really been abused, and they're just like not doing anything, But what if I could start buying it,
And what's the real incentive for these 100 buyers? In addition to the harvest, been the real essence of this? And what is it about the whole thing in addition to the harvesting that inspires you to go now for 100 acres and 100 owners?
Well, I want people to have what I have, right? I want people to have all the fruits that they can possibly eat, I want people to also have community, because I've been blessed to have a community. Like, for all the work that it is, there's also just as much rewards, And the rewards come in the friendships, in the family that you develop, that that you can count on the people that live here. I can count on them for anything. Anything that I ask from them, most of them. But most of the people that live here, feel like they owe me, a great favor, for making it possible for them to be able to live their dream,
You've rescued many. I've heard so many rescue stories where they came here, they got beat up by waves and lava rock and penniless, and they had nowhere to go, and they were welcomed here, they were taken care of, they were loved, their days were paid for in some instances.
Yep.
It's
That's
beautiful
what
story. Gives me
happens
chicken
every
skin.
single day.
That's amazing.
And that is so rewarding, to be able to serve so many people, I think that the most fulfilling thing that we can ever do in this life is serve others, because it's selfless, When you serve others, you realize that you're not separate from anything else, that you are one universal consciousness, It's selfishness creates separation, And with this separation and this selfishness, that creates greed, And greed is terrible, because it takes away from everyone so that you could have more than you could ever use, More than you could ever have, That's wrong. That's what's destroying the planet. They call it the age of greed, When 1% of the population has 99% of all the resources, and it's horrible, because it's selfish. They don't care if 99 people are going to die, so they could have 99 cars or 99 televisions or 99 houses, which is what they end up having, That's wrong, That's totally wrong, So I have an idea. I have a plan. Okay. So here's the problem. There are millions of people who would love to have what I have, that would love to create what I have created, that would love to be able to create their sustainable homestead. But they can't do it. How are they going to do it? They don't have the money, and they don't have the land.
Or the know-how.
Or the know-how, or the experience, They don't know that they can do it. They don't know that, if they had one, at least if they could have an acre of land, in a community where everyone in this community also owns an acre, But it gets capped at that, We don't, no one gets to own more than anybody else, you get to buy into 1 acre of property, and you get to own an equal share of land, you know? Like, let's say I'm able to buy 120 acres, right? I'll set aside 20 acres, but I'll sell 100 acres, you know, to 100 people. And I'll make it possible for them. I'll put them on a monthly payment plan. I'll let them pay $100 a month because I know that's what I could afford, you know? Because I'm going to own one of these acres too. I would like to expand, you know? I'm done here. There's no place for me to plant any more trees, you know? I'm like going across the street planting trees on my neighbor's property, you know? Just because I have to now. I got to keep planting trees, you know?
Me
It's
too.
like, it's my mission, you know?
It's so fulfilling.
It is, you know? It's what rewards me the most, you know? It's what gives me clean air. It's what gives me fresh water. It's what gives me pure food, you know? Wholesome food, you know? It's the best kind of food you could ever have. It's the fruit that comes from a tree, you know? It's like the highest quality water with minerals and sugars and vitamins, you know? And it's pure, you know?
It's my favorite.
It is. It is. We all love fruit, you know? You know? So, so what I like to see happen, the vision that I have is, if we can how should I say it, when everybody puts their money together,
Collective,
if yeah,
cooperative,
yeah,
collective co-op.
what I want to create is these International Federation of Eco Co-ops, right? Where I want to start a crowdfunder. And I'm going to ask the public to donate money to it. But if you donate more than $100 or at least $100, then I'm going to put your name on a raffle, right? And at the end of the fundraiser, and I'm going to shoot for $200,000 because I believe I'll be able to buy at least a little bit over 100 acres, you know, with that kind of money here in Hawaii, based on what the going prices are of land, you know. And it'll be good land, you know. It'll be ag land, you know, with even more rain that I get here, you know. I just don't know how else to do it, you know. So it's going to take a collective effort, you know, for us to be able to pull this together. Like, I don't have $200,000. Do you have $200,000? Can I have $200,000 so I can start this?
Yes.
Well, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You have it?
The video is the bridge between the idea and the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're all going to have to pitch in. So the crowdfunder will be for $200,000. As soon as we reach that goal, I'll start shopping. I'll start going to all the auctions, right? And I'll start looking for the perfect piece of land based on my 19 years of experience, you know, and what I've had to go through to make this place fertile, you know. I don't have another 19 years to do this, you know. I'm going to be looking for fertile land this time, you know.
And so do you have a direct message for those of us who really want to be able to, you know, not have 3 acres or 5 or 10? One is plenty, especially when there's a neighbor close by with one,
Right.
and it's so much more fun.
Well,
and
you know, I already know what 3 acres how much food 3 acres can produce. And believe me, 1 acre per family is all you need to have all the food that you're gonna, for all your calories. 1 acre here in the tropics can provide all the calories that you and your family are gonna need, you know, for sure. And so that's why I believe that 1 acre is enough, you know. It's like, it's the revolution, the sustainable revolution, you know. We're going to save the world 1 acre, one person at a time, you know. But we're not going to be able to do it unless you have the land, you know. You're not, you know, because if we don't end up owning the land, we're always going to be trespassing on somebody else's land, and that person may or may not let you do it. And even if you do it, that person will have the power to take it away from you.
happens
You know?
every week.
It happens every week. You know, they tell you, oh yeah, man, mi casa es su casa. Go ahead, settle in, build your homestead, you know, grow your food, you know. But
Yes, some land
as soon as you
barons-
become successful, they take it away from you, you know, or they start charging you rent, you know. You know the story.
Yes.
That ain't gonna work. We got to be able to own it ourselves, you know. So
Hey David, come here for a second. When you get a chance.
so back to the vision, you know. What if we start these eco co-ops, where we raise the money and we buy the land and we set them up in what's it called, a living trust.
Yep.
Where no one, including myself or anybody, is able to sell it, you know. We're only able to pass it down to a trustee, right? So then we lock it in, right? Right there. No one can sell it. No one can just get rid of it, you know. All you could ever do is improve it, you know, make it better, make it more valuable, and then pass it on, you know. We'll never have to pay taxes, you know, estate taxes or a death tax, nothing, you know. It just gets preserved, you know. So here's what I'm proposing, you know. If you donate from $100 and more, we write your name. After we buy the land and we lock it all in and and all that, then we do a raffle, you know. And we'll go ahead and pick 100 people, you know, to be able to own it, you know. But then we're gonna sell it to you, but it's gonna be affordable, $100 a month, you know. So you'll be making your contributions, you know, of $100 a month. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all that money, and it's gonna be 100 people. That's $10,000, right? And all that money gets reinvested back into the co-op, you know, back into the common lands, you know. Because we're going to need everything, you know. We're going to be homesteading and settling a piece of land that has no buildings, no trees, nothing, you know. I mean, no fruit trees. We're going to have to create all that, you know. But we're not going to be able to create any of that unless we have a collective pool of money, you know, a capital, you know, in order for us to be able to keep investing and reinvesting in ourselves, you know.
Especially that central building.
Especially a central building.
Which can be the